Hey guys, thank you for joining the Kiki Files. I have a really great video today. I'm going to be going over the murder of David Harris that happened in 2002, and let me tell you what, it's going to be a good one. Just a backstory on this couple, Clara and David. Clara at the time was 45, David was 44 years old. Clara is a Colombian immigrant. Just outside looking in, this couple was extremely successful. They lived in an upper class place of Friendswood, Texas, and they just had a nice business. They were dentists. David was an orthodontist and Clara was a dentist. And they had just a really up and coming business. They were making a lot of money, and just outside looking in, they looked like they were happy. They had a set of twin boys in 1998. They also had a daughter, Lindsay, through a prior marriage on David's side. But she basically was their daughter. They did have her during the summer times, so not all year round. Sometime around 2001, they hired a receptionist named Gail Bridges. Gail Bridges, at this time, she was married, I believe, in an unhappy marriage to a guy named Stephen Bridges, and they had 3 children. Well, at this time, David and Gail started becoming more friendly in the workplace and eventually started having an affair. Everyone knew about it. Seemed like Claire was the last to know. You know, it makes me sad because it just seemed that she was so forgiving because she loved her husband so much. She was willing to do pretty much anything to save their marriage. They went to dinner one time, and he was running down a list of things that she could do to improve herself, you know, get a boob job. You know, he was comparing Clara to Gail, and if you can just imagine how she felt in that moment, her husband talking about this other woman and comparing her to, you know, her, it's just, I can't even imagine what was going through her mind and how much that must have messed her up. You know what I mean? It's just so devastating, and I just don't understand the kind of person that David was. You just don't do that, you know? And so I feel like throughout this affair, I feel like Clara definitely started going crazy in her mind. You know, can you imagine just, you know, trying to fight for your marriage? Your husband's obviously into another woman, and you know, you're trying to put on a smile every day. I feel like a lot of people really related to Clara Harris in that sense that, you know, affairs happen every day and you just don't really know what somebody goes through. You know, the more that I hear about this story, the more aggravated I get, because at some point, David had talked to Clara and said that he was going to take Gail out to dinner after he was supposed to not, you know, have any communication with her anymore. Out of the blue, he says that he wants to go have dinner with her and that she needs to be understanding of this, and it's a way for him to have closure with Gail. And it turned out that it was just another way to continue their affair. They ended up meeting at the Hilton, the same place that he married Clara. Just when you think anything can't get any more crazy, the Blue Moon investigation company that Clara ended up hiring had prior investigations, including Gail Bridges. Gail's husband thought that she was having an affair with another woman, so they had already been watching Gail before. So just the fact that this is another time where she is, you know, in another scandalous cheating affair, it just shows the kind of person that Gail is. And what happened was they ended up going out to find out to see where David was, and he was at the Hilton that night with Gail. And what I don't understand is why they ended up telling Clara that they were at the Hilton. So that just invited a whole can of worms, and Clara ended up going to the Hilton with their daughter Lindsay, and they wanted to confront David and catch him. Everything backfired, and the most unbelievable thing happened. This is another point in the story where I don't understand why this happened, but Blue Moon Investigations and the person that was going out that night to do surveillance, Bobby Baca. Well, she was one of the owners of Blue Moon Investigations, and she followed David to the Hilton, the same place that he married Clara. Clara ended up finding out through Bobby that David was at the Hilton with Gail, which I don't understand how and why she did that, because that's just asking for trouble right there. So Clara got into her car with Lindsay, and they went to the Hilton to confront David. Well, they went into the hotel and basically ran into them at the elevator. They got into a huge altercation. Clara just went crazy. She attacked them. I believe she punched Gail in the face, scratches, just the whole 9 yards. And the most humiliating thing was that David ended up walking Gail to her car, leaving Clara and Lindsay in the hotel, shocked, stunned. It probably infuriated her and gave her so much rage just to see that happen. They ended up leaving the hotel, and as David was getting Gail into her car, Clara and the daughter go into their car, and she guns it, and she runs him over 3 times, killing him instantly, basically. She was arrested, and also the investigation company had recorded the whole thing on video. A lot of things happened during the court proceedings, and prosecution didn't believe that it was a crime of passion, that she intended to hurt David. And even though Clara's defense attorneys told her not to take the stand, she felt like she had to. So that kind of opened up doors for things that she said to come into play. David's last words were, "I'm sorry," and I'm wondering if the "I'm sorry" was towards Gail or towards Clara, and I'm thinking that it was towards Gail for some reason, because I feel like he kind of chose at that point to pick Gail over Clara, and yeah, it's pretty sad that that's probably one of his last words. The other incriminating evidence was the video that Blue Moon Investigations had, and she ended up getting 20 years for a crime of passion. She was denied parole in 2013 and 2016. She was finally granted parole November 2017 and was released May 11th of 2018. She also went through a few lawsuits, and Lindsay ended up getting $2 million. Her twin boys got the same amount, and her in-laws got $3.75 million. Clara was worth $1.2 million around there, so I'm pretty sure most of the money came from David's side, so at least the family was taken care of. During Clara's stay in prison, she also converted a braille for school textbooks, and she was pretty much a model inmate and didn't cause a lot of problems. So honestly, I feel like she is a good person. She just really made a huge mistake. And if you take a look at somebody's life, and you know, I tried to really long and hard to really think about this, but her whole life up till the murder was, you know, everything that she could try to do to improve herself and to help others, and she loved her family. And everything after the murder, you know, she tried to make up for it as much as she could. So this was a huge, I mean, she paid for it. She did, you know, a lot of time in prison, and I'm sure that she misses her husband. You know, I can't really say that for sure, but I tried putting myself in her shoes, and honestly, I feel like she feels bad about the whole situation and probably wishes she could take it back. Whole story, it really hits home because as a woman who has, you know, had a marriage and has children of my own, just to keep that protected and to not have anybody else come in and, you know, ruin that, or even your spouse, you know, shake up your family unit, has to be a devastating thing. And so I feel for her as a woman and a wife and a mother. But you don't go and kill somebody else. You don't go and kill your spouse just because they had an extramarital affair. You know, you get a divorce, or you get counseling. Just so she definitely is not. She had to pay for this, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, you know, think, well, I would do that too, you know, if that were to happen, you know, or way to go, you know, you make him pay, or just, there's a lot of feelings that come into play, but there's also a lot of people that are angry with the fact that she, you know, took matters into her own hands, and she took a life. So there's just a lot of different feelings that come into play, but the bottom line is that, you know, there was a life lost. She missed out on her whole career. She missed out on raising her kids. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, she definitely made a huge mistake, and it ruined her life. This story is pretty upsetting, and, you know, it also kind of snaps us back into reality that, you know, you don't do this. You just don't. This is the prime example of what could happen if you don't, you know, get back into reality. So that's pretty much my story for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, Clara Harris is free. She's out there right now. I wonder what she's doing, because as a convicted felon, you can't really, you know, get really great jobs. And as a dentist, I'm wondering if she can even become a dentist. I need to check on that. All right, guys. I love you guys so much. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, bye.